mula sa Asian Community Development Council. Ito ang FILAM in Focus. Mondays at 12 noon, right here on PHLV Radio.
Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat and welcome to another episode of FILAM in Focus, a program by the Asian Community Development Council or ACDC, where we shine a light on critical issues, uplifting stories, and exciting opportunities shaping the Filipino-American experience. Ako po ang inyong host, Edelweiss Solano. In this episode, we're talking about something close to our hearts and our taste buds, Philippine coffee, Philippines' underrated treasure. From the cool mountains of Benguet to the rich coffee-growing lands of Mindanao, the Philippines is home to a coffee culture that's both deep-rooted and world-class, yet still underrated on the global stage. Joining me are two guests who are brewing big waves in the coffee world. Sly, a two-time National Barista Champion and founder of Lost Island Center of Kape in the Philippines, and Neil, silver medalist at the 2023 US Comandante Championship. Together, they're on a mission to elevate the Philippine coffee to its rightful place on the global stage. Welcome po, Neil and Sly.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Maraming salamat po for being here and for the coffee, morning coffee. So let's start with you. What first sparked your passion for coffee?
Well, I grew up here on the East Coast in the United States. My mom was an OFW, and my best friend was an Irish-Italian fellow. So we were eating a lot of Italian food, and I grew up eating this delicious dessert called tiramisu. And one of the main components of your tiramisu is espresso. So from that point, and then going to a lot of Italian restaurants, when you see these gorgeous looking machines and this like syrupy liquid flowing out of it as a kid, it kind of captivated me. Like I couldn't drink coffee till I was a little bit older, but when we would go to these Italian restaurants, you'd see these small cups and people drinking it, and it really captured me. And all the way until I was an adult, I'd been making coffee for myself, and there grew my passion for drinking coffee.
Well, I love that. It's always amazing how as simple as the tiramisu and then eventually tasting the espresso holds such deep meaning for you po. And then there's a connection between memory and then with that po. And then I think that's what's draw many of us in and also those who love coffee. And how did it feel po to win the National Barista Champion twice?
Twice, yeah.
Yes, that's
Fortunately, it happened twice. Second time, I was just checking the second time if it was real. It was a bit unreal, to be honest. Winning the 2016 and 2017 Philippine National Barista Championships. It is a very hard field. We're over 100 million people in our country. So taking the creme of the creme, the best coffee guys in competition wasn't easy. But yeah, it was really amazing to be able to be part of that 2016 year and to actually receive some of the highest points ever on my tasting scores from the head judge. He was really blown away. And I've just been quite fortunate that in my coffee journey, I had some good coffee friends who were a lot better than I was. I wasn't a great barista then, and I had two coaches, one from Indonesia and one from Hong Kong, who had started around the same time as me in coffee, and they were happy to help me in this fight. And I also had a very amazing coffee from a friend in Panama that I had made. And, between these several factors, it took a lot of work and effort to win that. And I wasn't expecting to win. I went in there just wanting to make the finals and learn about the competition. But I guess my coaches pushed me hard enough to squeeze out all of the potential I had to become a barista champion. So still very life-changing for me to win those two competitions. And it taught me a lot about what we need to do to help communicate things about Philippine coffee and about our own culture.
But wow, that's incredible. That's incredible. Ang galing. And then that is the defining moment of your coffee journey po, is making sure you elevate the Philippine coffee. And you must have the pride to do that po during that competition.
Yeah, it was really nice. The national competitors from several countries around the world, it depends year on year. There's up to 60 or more competitors from different countries that we competed with. And in 2016, the Philippines placed 14th. I think it was the highest rank at that time.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I'm happy that the succeeding competitors have gone much farther. So yeah, we have a lot of talent in Filipino baristas from all around the world in the Philippines. I'm just one of the many, to be honest with you.
Pero ang galing po, but you're making waves na rin po for in the coffee industry,
Yeah,
just
all
like
of us
many
are. So much pride in our
That's-
industry.
That's great po. And I'd love to hear your journey po, Neil. What inspired you to become a brewing champion? And also, how did it all begin?
Yeah, I've just been a coffee fan all my life, ever since I was a kid. I grew up as an army brat, so just the standard American culture of, waking up in the morning, getting coffee, that kind of just got ingrained to me when I was young. Going through the military career and afterwards, I kind of found a deeper appreciation when I went back to the Philippines and found out specialty coffee while I was there, and that just got me into the rabbit hole of coffee even more. Not really looking forward to having aspirations to win competitions, but yeah, I think just being able to go into a competition and place as high as I did is really just justification of like the people who trained, like Sly said. It's really about the people who helped you along the way, the mentors that we have in coffee, and it's actually really impressive how many Philippine baristas and roasters and coffee pros are around the world, in the Middle East, in Asia, here in the States, Europe, Australia, exactly. Filipino baristas are, very talented globally. So, yeah, it's just a matter of, kind of just, like I said, it's more of justification that those Filipino coffee pros who trained me taught me the right things. And that's kind of where I came to be where I'm at now.
Well, thank you po for sharing that story, and it's great to hear that you've turned into your passion to and passion to into your calling. And I love what you said that it's about the people who have supported you, just like what Lai shared earlier. Is the coaches, the mentors who help you be good at what you do. And going back to Sly, you found the Lost Island Center of Kape, or LIC for short.
Right, yeah.
And were there any challenges and successes when you set up the coffee shop business?
There's always a lot of challenges in setting up any coffee shop. So Lost Island Center for Kape, LIC for short, was set up by me and my partners at El Union Coffee. So since we had been promoting Philippine coffee with the Department of Tourism and doing a lot of events, we wanted to work on a project or a coffee business which would promote Philippine coffee within our own islands to tourists. Coming from a tourist town, San Juan, La Union, and being in El Nido, Palawan, it seemed like a perfect way to talk to our European and our other tourists there. So we set the roastery up to take on this challenge of talking about Philippine coffee in a new way and supplying Philippine coffee beans to tourist companies there in Palawan. And I guess the biggest challenge was COVID. We had set up a very, very small roastery in 2019, and in 2020, our whole industry was shut down. So it was a really big challenge for all of us, not only us in the coffee business, but all of our friends in hospitality. The Philippines economy is reliant on tourism and our hospitality workers, so all of us took a big hit then. And it was fortunate for us in coffee because people could still drink coffee. And I think a lot of our modern day Philippine and global coffee culture is based on what happened in pandemic. And that was really people taking power of making their coffee at home and really learning the intricate details together as a community, as a local and as a global community. So we were still able to survive by, selling beans online, doing online discussions. And actually, one of the things we did at that time was to empower our El Nido community and do a Kape camp. So the Kape camp was there to help people get basic ideas and skills so that they could make better coffee as a tourism industry. And what's great is that Kape camp has sprouted, I think, at least 3 or 4 coffee shops within El Nido. Yeah, our friends who had joined had the confidence to go forward and start brewing coffee and start having their own shops. So I'm really happy about that one.
That's great po. So it's not just about the Kape, but also Komunidad. So it's ensuring that you create jobs and you continually educate and empower the local farmers and the El Nido community.
Yeah.
And then ano po, Neil, what makes it the Philippine coffee so special and compared to, other beans?
That's a great question. I think besides, for us Filipinos and having a connection to the motherland, the country that we're from, it's more on also understanding that our high-grade quality coffee is very rare. And so that's actually what makes it more special, in my opinion, besides our connection to it, because the Philippines produces coffee, but it doesn't produce enough to meet its own consumption. So Filipinos in the Philippines, they're drinking a lot of stuff from Vietnam, Indonesia, Thailand, and other places around the world because that's how much coffee Filipinos drink. Now, when we talk about specialty coffee, it's it's only been coming up over the last decade or so, and the volume is still not there compared to how specialty high quality coffee is grown in Latin America, in Africa, and other parts of Asia. We're still catching up as a country. So yeah, the fact that it's rare but the quality is getting better is very it's something very valuable to consider when you're trying to promote Philippine coffee.
And that's what makes the Philippine coffee unique, is that being it rare, and you mentioned earlier, there is a demand but less supply on it, and that makes it more, I believe, like special in a way. And then despite you said that also, despite its quality, Philippine coffee remains underrated globally. And Sly, why do you think what can we do to change this narrative?
Well, yeah, one of the things we're doing together is creating awareness for Philippine coffee and telling people that it exists out there. Like Neil said, it's very rare, and it's almost like going on a hunt to find it. It's so hard to find, and the good quality ones are even harder. So if you look at Philippine coffee, a lot of it goes into more of a commercial taste, which is hard to distinguish from other coffees when it's done and when it's prepared in that way. So with specialty coffee and the demand now, farmers are processing in better ways, and we're making specialty coffee more available. So that's allowing us to support the farmers as well as helping them with a higher wage for the coffee.
I see. Okay, and can you prepared the coffee earlier before we started? So can you tell us about this last coffee that you brewed?
Yeah, so this last coffee is a present from one of my friends. Their farm is based in Mount Apo, and the coffee farm is named Sergio Leon. And they primarily process this Katimor variety, and these are samples for the Philippine Coffee Quality Competition, which they shared with me to taste. So we're tasting some of the best coffees from their farm today. And it's a natural processed coffee, which gives it more of a sweet, fruity flavor. And that's what's very delicious about it.
Yes, well, thank you, Paul, for bringing it today. And then, did you like it? Our audience today, did you like the coffee?
Masarap ba?
Yes, masarap.
Lami.
Malakas, diba? Parang full of energy tayo. And then, let's hear from Neil. Why is it important for you to personally represent the Filipino coffee here in the US?
Yeah, I think it's mostly because, Filipinos definitely love coffee. Here in Vegas, we have a big Filipino population and it's growing quickly over the last few years. And so just having more people aware of, again, the higher grade coffee comes with a higher price. That price generally transfers to more money in farmers' pockets. And that's kind of what we're trying to champion is, if the hard work is done at the farms, farmers can get more for their crop. And, having more exposure here in Vegas, which is, pretty kind of big city. I don't know. It's growing, but our presence here and visibility definitely will help the industry. I think if we just get more people interested, involved in figuring out ways to get it here. Obviously the costs logistically are gonna be the biggest obstacles for us, just because right now, because of the volume and because, we're still trying to catch up to the rest of the world as far as high grade specialty. So the cost of making that coffee is already going to be a substantial amount. And to get it here landed in the States for, us to promote is going to be the biggest, obstacle to, make money from it as well, because we want to, give back, but we can't really promote it if we're not making money to sell it as well. So, yeah.
And
You want to follow up on that?
Yeah, it's tough, but rather than giving your money to the Colombians or giving your money to the Mexicans or the Vietnamese, yeah, you pay a little bit more, but at least you're supporting a real farmer who's trying to push our industry on the ground. And the difference with like buying a commercial coffee, for example, or a specialty is that people like me and Neil, who work directly with farmers, are able to input all of that money and effort back directly to them.
I love that. I love that you're helping our Filipino farmers back in the Philippines and really uplifting the Philippine coffee. And I agree, there's a growing Filipino community here in Las Vegas. And aside from it's hard with the high tariff rates and the cost logistics. What other roles do you think that we can play in elevating Filipino coffee?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing we can do for now in the immediate future is just more promotional events, things to highlight the fact that Philippine coffee does taste good, like can taste this good. Again, like Sly said, on the same level as the Colombian coffee, Ethiopian coffee, it's already getting to that level. We just don't have the volume. So if we can, slowly get supplies here little by little and have events to really just get more exposure and get more people interested, maybe, the volume will catch up with the demand. People will say, hey, I like, having this coffee from Mount Apo, and,
Right.
Then like, how do I get more of it? And then like, oh, sorry, we don't have enough right now. But that's where, Sly and his direct relationship with the farms will come in and try to help them out and, figure out how to get more volume on the next harvest. But yeah, really right now in the immediate future is to get more exposure for Philippine specialty coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Neil. Definitely awareness is the big thing. And then, supporting more of these events. If we can get that demand, then of course I can go back to the farmers and say, let's plant some more and let's share it with these guys.
Yes, well, actually, I'm so excited to be able to speak with the two of you about this. And as a newbie in the coffee and learning to drink coffee, I love that I'm learning about coffee, Philippine coffee and the industry and how we can help it. So I commit really to sharing the coffee, and my family loves coffee. So yeah, I'm really into like learning and promoting our coffee industry in the Philippines. And as someone like me who's just learning to learn about coffee, what advice can you give to Filipino who's just starting to get into coffee, just like me?
What advice? One is to look for some Philippine coffee roasters here if you're based here in the U.S. or wherever you are around the world. There are a handful of them here and there that are selling coffees. Like I think one of my friends here, they have a roastery out of the East Coast called Kalat, and they roast some Philippine coffees out of that place. And some also are popping up here on the West Coast. I have to see what their names are, but that's one, is to try and find some Philippine coffee to buy. And second is, when you go to the Philippines, take some back with you, or visit some coffee farms. Take a holiday to a coffee growing area like Benguet or Mount Apo or Bukidnon, and you can visit them for yourselves and encourage the farmers there themselves to keep going. A lot of them are unfortunately already older, in their 60s. So seeing that there's such a strong demand will also get young people and their kids into it as well.
I see. Definitely po, pag bumisita ako sa Pilipinas, pupuntahan ko yun, not just in Benguet, but sa sa inyong coffee shop
Yeah, and it
in
grows everywhere
Palawan.
in the Philippines, from Palawan to the high mountains to the seas. So there's no excuse not to visit.
I know this is such a interesting topic po. I know that 20 to 30 minutes not enough. I hope you'll be back soon po again to tell us and educate us on the Philippine coffee. And finally po, Neil, what's one thing you hope people in the U.S. will come to appreciate more about Philippine coffee?
It really, again, like I said before, it's the fact that the specialty coffee quality is much better than before. It's always been getting better. I've had amazing coffees 5 years ago, and then amazing coffees today. In general, though, it's more of the volume catching up with the quality, the quality is always rising, but sometimes our volume for that quality doesn't match. But it's starting to get that way where, the really good tasty coffee that we have now, that we tasted over the last couple of weeks, the volume is catching up. So if we can get a lot more people, a lot more coffee shops, pop-up carts, cafes and roasteries here on the West Coast. I only say the West Coast because it's easier logistically.
Yeah.
So, establishing a base pipeline here on the West Coast is going to be a good start, I think. Yeah.
Thank you po. Magtatayo na ako ng coffee shop dito. And focus on Filipino beans po.
That would be great.
Yes po. And then may any final kung may events po kayo sa inyong coffee shop back in the Philippines that you would like to?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of great events going on. The next one, I believe, is the Philippine Coffee Expo. So that's happening, I think, in Manila in the first week of May. And there's going to be events from a lot of other organizations. We just had Manila Coffee Festival previously, and all of our other large events. But going to specialty coffee shops in the Philippines is the biggest thing that you can do when you visit. You can chat with them about the different coffees and experience the diversity that we have. And I hope that you can have a nice cup when you visit the Philippines.
Opo. And maraming salamat po. I believe there's a lot of coffee shop sprouting in Manila and of course in other provinces.
Everywhere, in Davao, in
Wow.
Cebu. Yeah, it's
So-
a really great culture now.
In coffee culture po sa Pilipinas.
Yeah,
that's-
it's really growing. Yeah.
Wow, that's great to hear. So I'm excited to visit po and visit those places that you like specialty coffees. And maraming salamat po, Sly and Neil, for sharing your incredible stories po, and then your inspiring journey in coffee, and really your passion for elevating Philippine coffee industry. And inspiring po talaga na patuloy niyong pinapromote ang coffee natin, and then winning also awards even for that shows your expertise and skill po and creativity. And for our listeners and viewers, maraming salamat po for tuning in to FILAM in Focus, brought to you by the Asian Community Development Council. For more information about ACDC, be sure to visit our website at acdcnv.org and follow us on our social media channels to stay updated on our latest programs and events, even community resources. So hanggat sa muli, maraming salamat po. Kita-kita tayo ulit.